Laurence hurried after Mr. Prebble. Once, twice, 3 times, the boy glanced back at Patrick, the only person in the world he considered his friend. He would have given anything to stay with him. But Laurence had nothing to give, and Mr. Prebble, propelled by his humiliation, was striding rapidly off. For his part, the actor kept asking, how could Mora have been so cruel, so ungrateful? He hardly knew which he felt more, grief or fury. And now that he was in America, a terrible question beat against him. What was he to do? He had not the slightest idea. Before them lay the crowded city of Boston. Both Mr. Prebble and Laurence stared at it. Gas street lamps were glowing, candles and lanterns gleamed from countless windows. "Where are we going?" Laurence asked. Mr. Prebble looked down at him, trying to comprehend not just the question, but the person who had asked it. "Why is this boy with me?" Mr. Prebble fretted, deeply regretting that he'd brought him along. "Do we have a place to go?" Laurence wondered aloud. Mr. Prebble, to cover his confusion, mumbled, "A friend." Turning, he gazed upon the great numbers of people rushing by, all of whom, in his eyes, seemed to know exactly where they were going. He was certain that he alone, in all the world, was lost. He closed his eyes. "I am in America," he murmured to himself. "The promised land, where everything is different." He repeated the phrases as though they were a prayer, letting the ideas stir him, fill him up. Then he dredged up a line from his Shakespeare. "The miserable have no other medicine but only hope." The words comforted him, calmed him. Taking a deep breath, he vowed he would become a new man, and he would begin by putting Mora O'Connell out of his mind. Mr. Prebble hailed the next person who passed. "Excuse me, sir, but I'm looking for the Liberty Tree Inn," he said. "Can you help me?" "Just up there, half a block," the man replied, pointing the way. The inn was easily reached. Mr. Prebble pushed through the double doors beneath the painted sign and stepped into the tap room. It was just as crowded and noisy as when Mr. Grout had arrived earlier in the day. The stench of liquor was thick, while clouds of tobacco smoke had reached thunderhead proportions. For Laurence, who had spent so much time alone, the sight of so many people pressed into the confines of one room, talking and arguing all at once, was overwhelming. He had to stop at the threshold. Mr. Prebble said, "Wait here," made his way through to the bar, and addressed the man working there. "Excuse me, my good man," he said. "A friend is lodging here. I'm supposed to join him. Would you be kind enough to tell me where I'll find him?" "What's his name?" the man asked. "Grout. Mr. Toby Grout." "The Englishman with an eye patch?" Mr. Prebble nodded. "3rd floor, room 16. Take those stairs," he said, indicating the steps at the far end of the room, and providing Mr. Prebble with a lighted candle to help him find his way. Collecting Laurence, Mr. Prebble began to climb, the candle's flickering light just enough to illuminate the narrow steps while creating grotesque shadows behind. At the 3rd floor, the actor entered a gloomy hallway of many doors, upon each of which a number had been crudely painted. "Here we are." As Mr. Prebble knocked, Laurence, feeling shy, stepped behind him. From inside a voice called, "Who is it?" "It's me, Horatio Prebble." The door was pulled open. "There you are," Mr. Grout cried. "I've been wondering what happened to you." "The ship was late coming in," Mr. Prebble explained. "I've only just arrived." "Don't you worry none," Mr. Grout assured him. "I didn't give up on you. Just step in so I can tell you some amazing news." Mr. Prebble hesitated. "I need to tell you that I've brought someone." Mr. Grout grinned. "Your gal?" he asked.